Yo, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm coming at you guys with my week 12 predictions and picks. We did struggle a bit last week, going 7-6 on the week with the Texans at Cowboys game still to go on Monday Night Football. So we're hoping to get to 8-6 on the week. On the season, we're still 108-57 on the season. I like to compare that each week with the season total with the best pickers in the world on the site that I use, ESPN Pigskin, a challenge site. So there's two guys with a tie at 125-40 on the season, which is about a 76% winning percentage on the season. Just to quickly touch on last week, where did we go wrong? The 50-50 games we didn't do so great on. We had the Jets, the Falcons, the Chiefs all winning, so those all hurt us big time. But let's now get into week 12. This is the second to last bye week of the season, the last one being a week 14 where teams have byes. The teams on bye this week are the Falcons, the Bills, the Bengals, the Jaguars, the Saints, and the Jets. That leaves us with a very interesting week 12 slate of games. There's only 13 matchups this week, but 7 of those matchups are going to be divisional matchups, so by no means will this be an easy week of picking games. The first matchup I want to get into this week is the Steelers at the Browns on Thursday Night Football. You know, I wanted to take the Browns in an upset here because Winston can actually still sling the ball around a little bit, and he's making less mistakes on the field. This is also going to be a divisional game on a short week. And another interesting aspect to this game is that this is the Steelers' second divisional game of the season. You know, they played their first one last week versus the Ravens, obviously winning that game. But the Steelers, you know, they've looked good this season. They're 8-2 up to this point. You know, this is a team that's being compared to the Seattle Seahawks, Russell Wilson teams, which I can kind of see. You know, both of those teams have good coaching. Obviously, Russell Wilson, you know, a top 5 defense, a good running game with Najee Harris, and good receivers, you know, with Pickens and Mike Williams, who I think, you know, Mike Williams still needs to be utilized more for the Steelers. But I expect them to win this game versus the Browns in prime time. Now I'm going to get into my upsets of the week. The first one is the Chargers over the Ravens. Less than 20% have the Chargers winning this game right now. The Ravens, to me, are a team that's kind of trending down while the Chargers are trending up. Lamar Jackson, you know, he had one of those playoff type stinker games last week versus the Steelers. And, you know, this AFC is really competitive. There's teams like the Bills, the Chiefs, the Steelers. They all have better records than the Ravens and the Chargers for that matter. But this is going to be an interesting game. This is going to be Harbaugh versus Harbaugh at the head coaching position. You know, the last time we saw this head coaching matchup was in the Super Bowl 47, 11 years ago, when the Ravens beat the 49ers in the Superdome. So this is going to be kind of a throwback moment, but I like the Chargers here because they have the better defense. Herbert is playing the best football of his career. The Chargers also have a running game for the first time in what feels like forever, maybe since Melvin Gordon. And they're playing their third game in a row at home for the Chargers, so I think that makes a difference as well. And then the Ravens are coming off of a physical loss versus the Steelers, so to me, all signs kind of point to the Chargers' victory here. I really like this first upset. The next upset I have this week is the Bears over the Vikings. You know, the Bears finally got their offense rolling last week, you know, after firing their offensive coordinator, which to me, you know, looks like a good move. You know, they should have won last week versus the Packers, but they lost with that blocked field goal at the very, very end of the game. In that game versus the Packers, you know, the Bears to me look like a very, very good team top to bottom. You know, I know that they have struggles with certain parts of their team, like their O-line. I know that that's banged up, but there was a different vibe, a different feel to this team. It feels like this team really rallied around Caleb when he was playing well. You know, I think it makes this Bears team a dangerous team. My only question now is, like, how motivated is this team? They're 4-6 at this point in the season. They play in a really competitive division, and after a deflating loss to the Packers, you know, I wonder, you know, what their motivation level is, but I think that they could definitely play spoiler here. This is also the third game in a row at home for the Bears and the third game in a row away from home for the Vikings, so I think that that's a big deal as well. I'm still not totally sold on Sam Darnold, and, you know, we saw Caleb be really effective, really efficient last week when running the ball as well. So I think that if they can do it again this week, I can see them upsetting, so I'm going to take the Bears in this one. Now I'll get to my 50-50 pick'em games this week, the first one being the Eagles at the Rams. You know, I think this game also has some upset potential. It's the Sunday night game. Both of these teams are trending up, in my opinion. I kind of wanted to pick the Rams in this one, but I can't quite pull the trigger on this upset. The Eagles have the better defense and the better offensive line in this game. They have 3 days rest on the Rams as well because they played on Thursday night. They do have 2 back-to-back primetime games, which is interesting, but I think that 3 days rest is really, really a big deal. And then the Eagles are also one of, if not the healthiest teams in the league right now, so I really cannot bet against them. My next 50-50 game here is the 49ers at the Packers. This is obviously a must-win for both of these teams, but I'm going to take the Packers at home. The 49ers haven't had really any impressive wins this season. Like, what's their best win? Against the Buccaneers, against the Seahawks? To me, that's really not impressive whatsoever. The Packers should have lost versus the Bears last week, but I think that's kind of a wake-up call for them. I think that they're going to use that game as an opportunity to grow and learn from. I think the Packers are going to be able to run the ball with Jacobs and Love in this game against a banged-up 49ers defense. Bosa obviously got injured in that game last week. Don't know if he's going to start here, but they're obviously going to be banged up. And they just really haven't played great on defense all season long. So I'm going to take the Packers, but that's going to be a very close one. The next game here we have is the Cardinals at the Seahawks. I'm going to reluctantly go with the Cardinals. They've won 4 games in a row now, but they have to travel to Seattle to face the Seahawks for the first time this season. Obviously a divisional game, so it's not an easy place to play at all. But I am going to go with the Cardinals here just because I think they have the more effective offense and they have more momentum coming into this game. So I think that gives them the edge here. Give me the Cardinals in that one. Then you have the Buccaneers at the Giants. I'm going to go with the Buccaneers here, but both of these teams are coming off of a bye week. The Giants are finally benching Daniel Jones and starting Tommy DeVito again, so that's an interesting move. That makes this game kind of interesting. I think that the Giants actually do have a chance to upset, but I wouldn't take it. I think that this is kind of a trap game. I don't know how motivated the Bucs are after losing 4 straight games. They've lost 4 straight to the Ravens, the Falcons, the Chiefs, the 49ers. But one thing good is that their schedule does get a lot easier down the road, and their division isn't all that great, even though they lost to the Falcons twice. There's not a lot of science to this game, but I'm going to go with the Bucs here. Then we move on to the next 50-50 game. We have the Patriots at the Dolphins. This is an interesting game as well because the Patriots found their franchise quarterback, in these recent weeks. I think Drake May really solidified himself as that, quarterback of the future in New England. Obviously, they're going to have to build around him, but it feels like he is the guy. This feels like another team also that's rallying around a quarterback in Drake May. So I like them for those reasons. But the Dolphins are in must-win mode. They need to take care of business versus these teams like the Patriots and the Jets in their division. This is an interesting note about this game as well. This is the first time Tua is playing the Patriots this season because he missed their first meeting. So I think that is an interesting point as well. But I'm going to go with the Dolphins in that one. I just think that they are the hungrier team, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Patriots did win that game. And then I'm also going to put my locks of the week up here. I'm not going to talk about these ones too much just because they're pretty obvious, but I'm going to have all my picks down in the description box below, so go check that out. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week, and I'll talk to you later. Peace out.